Hello ladies and gentlemen, today I invited two GLC players here to play. I have edited this down so that you the viewer can learn what is GLC as well. GLC in short is you play with one typing for the Pokemon game and you play singleton deck. That means you have 60 different cards except for your energy of course, and you play with that. There's additional rules like no rule box for example, so no rated, no prisons, no Vs, no EXs and such as so. But it's a very interesting meta to see and witness what it is. And I will leave the talking to the GLC players themselves. Enjoy!
So I'm going to be playing the classic water deck from the early days of the GLC format. Going to be focused around Deluge Blastoise to get as many water energies into play. And as a backup you also have the Frost mods in case one of your Blastoise pieces is prized. There is an Inteleon in here, an Inteleon line, because it's a very good early attacker, early game consistency as well, while you get your Deluge set up. A little bit of draw with Octillery, it's the only consistency you have. And then the attackers would be Wailord, does a lot of damage for a lot of energies. You have a little bit of setup again with the Basculin. Basculegion a nice 1 energy attacker if you don't have your Deluge set up yet. The Lapras is once again something that does a lot of damage for a lot of energy, with Deluge definitely possible. And the Kyogre, a recent addition. It's very nice because it allows you to recycle the energies as well, and 180 is a lot of damage, usually enough. Vulpix is also a nice little bit of consistency. You can find it with Nest Ball, Brooklet Hill, and it gets you any Pokemon you want, including Octillery and Drizzile, to get set up. A bunch of draw supporters in here. You just want straight draw and a lot of search to get your early cards going. You also want, a lot of the time you're searching in your deck rather than drawing, which is why you play the Rosa and the Irida. Nessa is a nice recovery card, and as always you play Boss, Guzma, and X-Maniac. Want as many ball search cards as you want. These are all pretty standard. Dive Ball is very nice to have. Mercer's Letter and Capacious Bucket, Energy Retrieval are all very good to get more energies into play with Deluge. And yeah, overall this is a fairly standard list for the rest. You want a bunch of energy, so there's 11 in here. With the Energy Retrieval becomes a lot more.
So I also brought a pretty standard deck. I brought a grass deck, which is mainly focused around Venusaur, which doubles every grass energy. And since you only play grass energies, every energy is doubled. You also have the backup acceleration from the Rillaboom, which searches your deck for 2 grass energies. Then you have the Torterra line, which is very strong. It's a very beefy guy, which does a lot of damage for every evolution you have in play. Which also has the Grottle in the line, which searches for other grass mons, so this is very good for your consistency. We have the Cricketune, very good because it gives your grass Pokemon extra HP, which can make a lot of the attackers very tanky. We also have the broken Kricketot, which is one of your best starters, searching for 3 grass mons, so good in this deck. You have the Roserage with the Le Perfume ability. You can search your deck for any card when you put it into play. Then you have your 2 main attackers, the Zarude and the Shining Genesect. They basically have attacks which scale with the amount of grass energies attached. So you can imagine with the Venusaur, you can ramp up these pretty high. Then you have your pretty standard supporters, Gloria, Bridget, Balgai, teammates, Clara, to recycle some of those. Like the water deck, you have the Netball in this deck to search for grass energy or a basic grassmon. Pretty standard stuff. You have the Revitalizer, which can bring back your 2 main attackers, so you can get them back pretty fast. Some other recovery cards. And in my build, I have a lot of focus on the tool cards, because most decks only play 1 Field Blower, so you'll get a lot of value from playing 4, in my opinion. The Pot Helmets to make it more tanky, which is a good combo with the Cricketune. Also the Cape of Toughness and the Fighting Fury Belt giving you extra HPs. And then the Wishful Baton can be very nice. If you see the Field Blower early, you can guarantee 3 energies, which is like 90 more damage if you can get them into play. And then the Turffield Stadium to get your Evolution Grass Pokemon. Then the rest is pretty much all energies.
So now we've learned what the decks do, let's see them in action as well.
it's heads, and I'm going to go second because these decks rely a lot on the setup supporters like Bridget and Gloria. If you have one of those in your opening hand, it's very good. Right? Good luck.
Good luck. Unfortunately, I went first because going second with the Zarud active would have been very nice, but I'll draw a turn. I'll bench the Bulbasaur. I'll attach an energy. And then since I can't use the pack call this turn, I will just pass over.
Okay. For my cards, play Hisuian Heavy Ball. Looks like there aren't any basic Pokemon in my prizes. It's always a good idea to see them, so you don't have to check later. I'll bench Sobble, attach to the Lapras, and play Tate and Liza. The shuffle. And this is very nice, even though this is not a Vulpix or a Basculin, I still get to confuse or even put a little bit of damage on the Zarud. Either doing 40 to essentially negate a Fighting Fury Belt later down the line can already be very impactful. I'll play the Nest Ball. Debating on playing it because I don't yet know what I want to get, but I think it can never be bad. Just to go grab Basculin, for example. And then I will use Confuse Ray to confuse your Zarud.
I'll drop turn. I'll bench the Kricketot. And I also have the Gloria in my hand, so my bench will be full immediately. So I'll use the Gloria. Start my deck. Right. I'll take the Turtwig, the Grookey, and the Roselia. And since I do not want to damage myself, I'm just going to pass over to...
The confusion stays, actually. Okay. I can use Professor's Letter. Go grab some energies. And I do not have a draw supporter in my hand, but I do still have a couple of plays I can make. I have a little bit of time because one of my attackers is in the active. Just wondering which one would be best. If it's best to just damage this Zarud, but I think it might actually be better to take boss's orders. And then the question is, I want all of these, so there's a reason to pick everything except maybe the Roselia. But I think the engine of this deck is the Groddle, so I will take the Turtwig. And I will use Hydro Pump for 70 damage to KO it.
Alright. I will promote my Zarud, and I'll drop turn. I have a Ball Guy in my hand, which I will play. Great to follow up the Gloria with the Ball Guy, so... The Ball Guy I will... take... S-Ball, Head-Ball... Ball. I don't have my other balls, which is pretty unfortunate, because a level ball or an ultra ball would have been really nice. They're probably in the prizes. So let's check. I'll play the heavy ball. Yes, they are indeed in here. I will use the nest ball. To get a shiny Genesect. I'll attach to the shiny Genesect. I will also attach a Wishful Baton to save that energy if the Zarud were to be KO'd. And then I'll use Pack Call for one grass Pokemon. I will be going for the Roserate, which will be able to give me some more, find me a supporter or some more consistency in my next turns.
And it has water resistance apparently.
Broken.
This is... I was not aware of this. I have a couple of options here. We can retreat into the Basculin and start setting other things up. But I think at this point it makes more sense to just keep going in with damage. It seems unlikely that my Lapras is getting KO'd this next turn, although it is obviously possible with a rare candy. You did get the Roselia, so you can get a lot of different things. But I think it's still reasonably safe to attach another time to this Lapras. But actually, I don't think it's particularly necessary yet. So I'm going to attach to the Basculin instead. And I'll use Hydro Pump for 70 damage.
Yeah, seems pretty good. And then I'll drop turn. Oh, this is a very nice find. I find the Turffield Stadium. Okay, this changes my possibilities a bit. Now the Roserate. I will use the Roserate for the ability. I could go for a more a draw supporter, which gives me a little more outs in my next turns, but since Matthew didn't KO me and I would be able to attack with if my Venusaur is in play, I think I'm going to take the rare candy and I'll use the rare candy to evolve into the Venusaur. I'll use Net Ball to find a Grass Energy. Then I'll attach the Grass Energy to my root. Then I will use the Turffield Stadium to search for a Evolution Grass Pokémon. So my options right now are either I go for the Thwackey or I go for the Kricketune. I think it is a good idea to go for the Kricketune. It also not only protects my Root, but also my Venusaur and my other mons. So that seems pretty good. If the Turffield stays in play, I can use it on my next turns to start building up the Rillaboom. So right now, because of the Venusaur, my Root has 4 energies attached, and it will do it's 80, that's 140, so exactly enough for the knockout. Just a quick look at my discard pile. Alright, seems pretty good. And then I'll use Repeated Whip for the knockout.
Yes, exactly. So this is also why I didn't attach another energy to the Lapras, is because I thought this was a possibility. And I do have a very reasonable follow-up in the Basculegion and the Rosa. So I get to go find a Pokemon, a trainer card, and a basic energy. Now I'm fairly sure about the Stadia, like that trainer that has to be Brooklet Hill, because this Turffield cannot stay in play, and I need to build up my bench a little bit. And for the Pokemon, I think it's probably just best to go for a Drizzile. Just to start getting my Inteleon line set up. It seems very solid. Let me just check one thing that I forgot. This card can be pretty important later down the line, because I did not check my prizes. I did see them, but I only remembered a couple of cards. It's always good to check them. I will use the play the Brooklet Hill and use it to go grab myself here it is, the Snom, the most important ones. You get to play the Drizzile and use Shady Dealings. Though I'm not entirely sure what I want to go grab. I could just go grab the 5-ball to just start filling up my bench a little bit more, for example, with something like a Remoraid. And then I will attach 1 energy to the Drizzile, because the Inteleon is likely to be my next attacker. And then I will use Grudge Dive, which does 30, but because one of my Pokemon got knocked out by damage during my last turn, it does 120 damage instead, which even with the Cricketune is enough because it goes to 190 damage.
Alright.
It is enough to KO.
Because I have the Wishful Baton, I can save these energies. So I will put them on my Shining Genesect.
Very good. I'll take my prize.
Then I will promote my Shiny Genesect. I will drop a turn. So this is the strength of the Wishful Baton, because I was able to save 2 energies. It already now, before doing anything, has 6 energies because of the Venusaur. So right now I'm already doing 170 damage. I think, is the math correct?
Yes, it is 170 damage. It's
170.
definitely enough to KO.
Yeah, alright. I will use the Brooklet Hill to check my deck. Even though I don't have any water Pokemon, I can still use it because I have 1 free bench space. It would have been nice to get some energies, but the energies were already saved by the Wishful Baton. So I'll be taking a Turtwig and a Zarude. I will bench the Turtwig. Just use the Gaia Blaster attack for the knockout.
Okay. Now, I can make a very powerful play here, but it will leave me with a very fragile board afterwards. But I still think it would be worth going for, depending on my top deck. Well, I still think it's worth it. I'll use Brooklet Hill. First of all, want to try to go grab a Pokemon that is good with a few energies, but apparently that's not an option I have. So I'll go grab the Kyogre instead. I have the Ball Guy in my hand, but I know that all of my remaining ball cards are in my prizes. So I won't use that. And instead, I think it makes sense to use... first of all, evolve the Frostmoth. I'll use the Ultra Ball, definitely discarding the Ball Guy. Or the better version of Ball Guy, I should say. I think it makes sense to... I'll discard the Water Energy because I think this Ordinary Rod might be important to ensure I have enough attackers throughout the game. I will go grab the Inteleon and use its Shady Dealings ability. And I can go grab Muscle Band and Hex Maniac. Which, because the Hex Maniac shuts off the Cricketune ability, the Shining Genesect will only have 130 hit points. And the Muscle Band, the Aqua Bullet, will do enough damage to knock it out. And it will leave you without the Venusaur, without a potential Grottle to accelerate energies, essentially giving me a free turn. I will attach the Muscle Band, I will play the Hex Maniac, and then I will play Ordinary Rod as well. So, while this is a powerful play, it also leaves me with no cards in hand, which is very risky. So I'm essentially hoping that my top deck or my prize card is a good card. But I do remember that there is a level ball in my prizes as well, which can go grab me the auxiliary. I think I will go grab the Lapras, because that's just accessible through Brooklet Hill. It has a confusion attack, which can buy me a little bit more time if I need it. And I'm now thinking I maybe shouldn't have played this ordinary rod because I'm hoping to top deck one of the cards. But oh well. It's a slight misplay, hopefully I won't get punished for it. But if I do get punished for it, if I do lose, I'll blame that. And then I'll attack with Aqua Bullet to KO the Shining Genesect, and I'll put 20 damage on the Turtwig because the Torterra, when it comes out, will be very bulky, and that might hopefully allow me to knock it out at some point.
Alright.
And I'll take the prize card.
Now, because all my abilities are turned off, I will not be able to use any attack on my turn. So I basically have to sacrifice someone, and I think that's going to be the Roserade. I'll draw for turn. I will finish the Zarude. I do have a teammate, which I can use because my Shining Genesect was knocked out during my last turn. So right now I'm just trying to re-establish my board states for my next turn, because this turn will be pretty lousy. I think grabbing the Grottle is always nice. Actually, I'll go for the Grottle and the Thwackey, because otherwise Matthew would be able to just either of these, and at least the Thwackey can evolve into the Rillaboom, which can accelerate energies for my next turn. I'm not able to use the Grottle's ability because of the Hex Maniac. I think I will just pass.
Okay, I'll draw for turn. Now, I don't have a draw supporter, but I do have Capacious Buckets, and my top deck was an energy, so I will be able to establish 3 energies onto this Kyogre, which is still a very threatening position. It can of course get KO'd, but it's a risk I'm willing to take. I will also use the Brooklet Hill to go grab another Pokémon. At this point, I think it makes sense if that is the Squirtle, because that would still need to evolve twice. I do remember all 3 of my prize cards now. One of them is Wailord, one of them is Marnie, and one of them is Level Ball. 2 of those would be able to get me out of this position and continue drawing. If I do get the Wailord, well, it's an attacker for later. I will Ice Dance 3 times onto the Kyogre.
Very nice.
And then I will Aqua Bullets on the Roserade, even with... oh, actually... no, it is not enough with the resistance. It will have 10 HP left over because of the Cricketune.
Yeah, exactly.
And I will put 2 damage counters onto the Grottle because this Kyogre can maybe KO it next turn. Goes to 120.
Right. I will draw for turn. Oh, what an amazing top deck. I top deck the Scoop of it, which will allow me to retrieve the Roserade. I think it is correct to promote the Grottle, since the Torterra will be able to attack for just 1 energy because of the Venusaur. I will use Pokegear to find a supporter. I only find a Bridget, which is pretty unfortunate, because I do not have an energy yet, but I can accelerate with the Rillaboom, so I'll have to go get him. I will play Ultra Ball, discarding the Bridget I just got and an Ordinary Rod. I will get, with the Ultra Ball, I get the Rillaboom, and then I'll use the Sun-Drenched Shell to get the Torterra. Having a quick look in my deck, yes, I still have enough energies left. I'll use Voltage Beat of the Rillaboom to accelerate Let's just say 2 energies to the Torterra. I will pinch the Roserade. Matthew, of course, knows I still have the Roserade in my hand because I use the Scoop Up Net. But maybe I can get it into play next turn and find myself a supporter. Alright. Because I have 4 evolution Pokemon in play with the Kricktoon, Venusaur, Rillaboom and the Torterra, my Evo Press attack does 200 damage, which will be enough to take the KO.
Yes. So, because of my little misplay last turn, which is turned out to be a very big misplay, I have an interesting choice here. Because if I promote the Kyogre and do not find an energy, I essentially lose. But even if I don't find anything this turn, I think I lose anyway. So when you make a misplay, always go for the greedy play afterwards, and then you never get punished, right? Well, I do not. So I top deck the Nessa, which can find me some energies. And perhaps a few attackers. But I don't have a lot, so I think instead I'm going to get back the Sobble and the Drizzile. And 2 energies. Because the Drizzile can then get me more next turn. I could also, because I only need 1 energy this turn, and I'm going to get 3 energies back into my hand with the Kyogre, I can go grab actually the full Inteleon line, which makes a little bit more sense. I will manually attach this energy. Then I will Brooklet Hill, because I know the Wailord is in my prizes. It makes sense to go grab the Wailmer right now, so that I can turn into an attacker. And I can always go grab the Lapras off of Brooklet Hill if I need it. I'll bench the Sobble, so next turn I can get a Drizzile in play to keep drawing cards. Then I can Dynamic Wave. Now I have to be very careful, because this Torterra has 230 HP. So Dynamic Wave is not enough to KO it. Also, the Venusaur and the Rillaboom have too much HP. But I can knock out the Kricktoon, or the Roselia, or the Zarude for that matter. And I know you have the Roserade in hand, which allows you to find something like Boss's Orders, which will be very, very powerful. So instead, to prevent that play, I'm going to Dynamic Wave the Roselia. And I have to put 3 energies attached to the Kyogre back into my hand. I'll take a prize card.
Alright. I'll drop turn. I find a Hot Helmet, which is pretty interesting because it can make my ones even more beefy. Since Matthew didn't KO my Kricktoon, I think if I put this on my Torterra, he will not be able to KO it with his Wailord, if I am correct.
For 4 energies, it does 170. It's the old Wailord, actually.
Yeah.
So
you will need.
So I'll need a lot of energies regardless.
To KO this this Torterra.
Yes.
I will use Rillaboom to accelerate some energies into play. I'll take 2 energies and I will put them on. I could split the energies between the Rillaboom or the Zarude, but since my Torterra is also alive, I think it's correct to just put them all on the Zarude, creating 2 giant attackers. I will also attach for turn, and I'll use Super Rod to get back I think it might be correct to just forget about the Roserade and just get these energies, which I can accelerate with the Rillaboom. And then I'll use Evo Press for the knockout.
I have a couple of choices here again. I have a Drizzile, which can get me a draw supporter, but I think actually because of the Inteleon line coming back, I might have enough to just finish this game off of only the Inteleon and what I have in my hand. By just completely ignoring this Torterra and by keep going back. So I think that is the play I actually want to go for. I will use Drizzile Shady Dealings, and I can go for either Versus Seeker for the Nessa back so I can attack with the Kyogre again, or, which I maybe like a little bit more, I can Guzma the Cricketune, which saves an energy, and I can also KO that with 4 energies on the Lapras. So I can go grab the Guzma with the Shady Dealings. I will use Brooklet Hill to find the Lapras, which I put back earlier. And then once again, if the Wailord does come out of the prizes, that is another potential attacker. Although it will need a lot of energies to KO this Torterra. Have enough energies charge onto the Lapras, because of course the Kyogre put a lot of energies back into my hand. So I can use Ice Dance 4 times, and I can Guzma the Cricketune, which has 100. Oh, actually, it only has it only has 90 HP.
Since the ability does not
Yes.
work on the Cricketune itself.
So technically, 3 energies would have been enough. However, I do think 4 might still be correct, because if you do Gust KO the Frostmoth, I might have to take a KO at this Lapras somehow. And if you put a tool on the Zarude, I might need a lot more damage than what I have right now. So that's what I'll do. I'll Hydro Pump and knock out the Cricketune.
Alright. I will promote the Torterra because it's the hardest thing to KO, and since Metro only needs 1 more prize, that seems like an easy choice. I will draw for turn. I will fence the Genesect. I got the research of the prizes, so that's a great find. It would have been nice to find some cool cards. I think it is correct to use Focus. I have 1 more energy in my deck. I think I do have to start attaching to the Genesect as well. The Torterra is starting to less and less damage, so I have to look out for that. It's only doing 150 right now because I only have 3 evolution Pokemon in play right now. So I'll attach 1 to the Genesect. With the Voltage Beast, I'll also attach for turn. And I'll use the energy road to retrieve 1 from the Torterra because it can still attack because of the Venusaur. So I'll just save myself another energy. I will use the Revitalizer to try and bring back the Cricketune line. It might come in handy since I can already bench the Kricketot right now. Alright, and I think I'm ready to attack, so I'll just announce Evo Press for the knockout.
Alright. So Jeffrey did put himself into a very good position, but I do have one final trick. The Wailord did not come out of the prizes, but I don't need it because I can Shady Dealings for the Versus Seeker, and I guess I can also go grab something like Air Balloon. And I can Versus Seeker, I can attach the Air Balloon, I can Versus Seeker for Nessa, which can grab me 3 energies and the Kyogre, And because I have one final energy left in my hand, I can bench the Kyogre, Ice Dance 4 times to it. I'll retreat, and I can KO. I guess I'll go after the Kricketot
All right.
for my final prize.
Good game.
Good game.
All right.
Thank you very much for joining us on this journey, on this video as well. We have an event coming up as well. You can check it out in the description as well. That's why we are promoting this right now. So please, if you are in the neighborhood in Belgium, please come visit. We have a lot of fun. We tend to have a lot of fun. And thank you again to the 2 main GLC players as well for making this video possible. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. As always, goodbye.